The string quartet played Pachelbel's canon as I stood alone at the back of the grand ballroom, watching my sister float down the aisle like a princess in her designer gown. That dress alone cost more than my annual salary. Not that anyone knew I was the one who paid for it. I'm Greta, and this is the story of how my perfect little sister's dream wedding became my worst nightmare, and ultimately my sweetest revenge. Darling, you could at least pretend to smile, my mother Hope whispered, appearing beside me in her champagne-colored dress. And where's your plus one? I thought you said you were bringing someone. Change of plans, I muttered, forcing a smile as Solstice reached the altar. Her soon-to-be husband Rowan beamed at her with adoration, completely oblivious to the family drama unfolding in the wings. Well, it's not too late, you know. Miguel, the wedding planner, is single, Mom stage whispered, nodding toward the sharply dressed man directing the photographers. And he's quite handsome. I rolled my eyes. Mom, please, can we focus on Solstice's big day? The ceremony proceeded like a fairy tale, exactly as Solstice had dreamed. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, white roses and orchids cascaded from every surface, and the guest list read like a who's who of local society. Perfect, 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 just like Solstice. During the reception, my best friend Camila grabbed my arm. You okay? You look like you're about to explode. I'm fine, I lied, watching Solstice work the room, just tired of deflecting questions about my relationship status. Ladies and gentlemen, the DJ's voice boomed through the speakers. It's time for the speeches. My stomach churned as Solstice took the microphone, champagne glass in hand. I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate with Rowan and me today, especially my family, Mom, Dad, and my big sister Greta. I raised my glass, praying she'd leave it at that. She didn't. You know, Greta's always been there for me, even if she's been a bit preoccupied with her career lately. Solstice's smile turned sharp. I mean, someone has to be the successful businesswoman of the family, right? Though I have to wonder if it's worth being married to your job instead of finding actual love. The room fell silent. I felt hundreds of eyes turned to me. But hey, at least she's got her spreadsheets to keep her warm at night. Solstice laughed, and a few uncomfortable chuckles rippled through the crowd. I just hope she doesn't end up alone forever. There's more to life than work, sis. My father Jonathan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Camilla's hand found mine under the table, squeezing tight. To love. Solstice raised her glass, her diamond ring catching the light. May we all be lucky enough to find it. Well, most of us anyway. The guests drank, but I couldn't move. The champagne in my glass trembled as my hand shook with rage. I can't believe she just did that, Camila whispered. After everything you've done for her? Everything I'd done. The secret meetings with Miguel to plan every detail. The maxed-out credit cards. The drained savings account. All to give my baby sister the wedding of her dreams. And this was my thank you? Greta? Miguel appeared at my elbow, concern etched on his face. Are you all right? I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping against the marble floor. I need some air. As I headed for the terrace, I heard my mother's voice. Solstice, darling, that wasn't very kind. Oh, Mom, I was just teasing. Greta knows I love her. She's probably just jealous because she's missing out on all of this. Solstice's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. I mean, who wouldn't be? I pushed through the French doors onto the balcony, the cool evening air hitting my face. Behind me, the party continued. My sister's perfect day, funded by the very person she'd just humiliated in front of everyone who mattered. Camila followed me out. What are you going to do? I gripped the stone balustrade, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of revenge. You know what? I think it's time everyone learned who really made this fairy tale wedding possible. Are you sure? Camila asked, but I could see the gleam in her eye. She knew as well as I did, my sister had finally gone too far. Oh, I'm sure, I said, straightening my bridesmaid's dress. If Solstice wants to play princess, she should remember who's been bankrolling her happily ever after. 6 months earlier, I sat across from Miguel in a dimly lit coffee shop, spreading wedding magazines across the table. My sister's vision board lay between us, covered in pictures of luxury venues and designer dresses she couldn't possibly afford. Your sister has expensive taste, Miguel said diplomatically, tallying numbers on his iPad. The venue alone is nearly 6 figures. I sipped my now cold coffee. She's always had champagne tastes on a beer budget, but this time I'll make it happen. Why? Miguel's dark eyes studied me carefully. From what you've told me, she hasn't exactly been Sister of the Year. The bell above the cafe door chimed as my mother walked in, spotting us immediately. Perfect timing, as always. Greta, what a coincidence. She pulled up a chair uninvited. And you must be Miguel, the wedding planner. Solstice has told me so much about you. I bit back a laugh. Solstice had met Miguel exactly once, then pawned all the actual planning off on me because she was too busy with her social commitments. Mrs. Ellis, Miguel nodded professionally. We were just discussing the budget. Mom waved her hand dismissively. Oh, don't worry about that. Solstice's future in-laws are handling everything. Actually, Mom, I started, but she cut me off. You know, Miguel, Greta here is single and so successful in her career, she just made junior partner at her firm. Mom, I felt my face flush. We're here to discuss Solstice's wedding. I'm just saying, dear, you're not getting any younger. And my phone buzzed, saved by the bell. Sorry, work call. I need to take this. I escaped to the sidewalk outside, but there was no call. Just another credit card statement showing the deposits I'd already paid for Solstice's dream venue and the ridiculous designer dress she'd fallen in love with. Through the window, I could see Mom chattering away at Miguel, probably listing all my accomplishments while simultaneously lamenting my single status. The story of my life, successful enough to bankroll my sister's fantasy wedding, but somehow still a disappointment because I didn't have a ring on my finger. My phone buzzed again, for real this time. It was Camila. Please tell me you're not really paying for that entire wedding, she said without preamble. I watched a couple walk past the cafe, hand in hand. Someone has to. You know Solstice can't afford it, and Rowan's family isn't as wealthy as she's led everyone to believe. But why you? After everything she's done? Remember your college graduation? How could I forget? Solstice had thrown a tantrum because my party was stealing attention from her new boyfriend, so she deliberately caused a scene that ended with my cake on the floor and half the guests leaving early. It's complicated, I sighed. Mom and Dad always had to work so hard just to keep us afloat. Now that I can finally give them something, you're giving Solstice something, again, while she takes all the credit, again. Miguel emerged from the cafe, my mother thankfully nowhere in sight. He held up my abandoned coffee cup. Your mother is enthusiastic. That's one word for it. I took the cup. Did she try to set us up? Only 3 times in 5 minutes. He smiled. She also mentioned you're paying for the wedding yourself. I froze. She wasn't supposed to know that? She doesn't. She was bragging about how much money you make and how you could afford such a lavish wedding of your own if you just put yourself out there. He made air quotes. I connected the dots myself. Please don't tell Solstice, I said quickly. She thinks Rowan's family is covering everything. Miguel's expression softened. Your secret's safe with me, but can I ask why? Why do all this in secret? I stared into my cold coffee. Because for once, I want her to have exactly what she wants. No compromises, no settling, No reason to throw a fit and ruin someone else's moment. Maybe then, maybe then she'll finally appreciate you. Maybe then she'll just be happy, I whispered, and stop trying to make everyone else miserable. Miguel touched my arm gently. You're a good sister, Greta. Better than she deserves. If only he knew how wrong he was. Because standing there, watching happy couples stroll by and thinking about all the times Solstice had undermined me, belittled me, or straight up sabotaged me, I wasn't planning this wedding out of pure sisterly love. I was buying the rope with which my sister would hang herself. Every crystal, every flower, every perfect detail would be a strand in the web of her own making. And when the moment was right, I would show everyone exactly who the better sister really was. I just didn't know then how spectacular that revelation would be. Back at the wedding reception, I found Camila in the powder room, touching up her lipstick. The bathroom's marble countertops probably cost more than my first car, another detail I'd splurged on for Solstice's perfect day. So, Camila said, meeting my eyes in the mirror, what's the plan? I'm thinking it's time for my maid of honor speech. I smoothed my dress, checking my makeup hadn't run after my near breakdown on the terrace. You're not even the maid of honor. She chose her friend Ashley, remember? Even though you've done all the work. The bathroom door opened, and Miguel slipped in, looking slightly embarrassed to be in the ladies' room. Sorry to intrude, but I thought you should know. Solstice is about to do the bouquet toss. She's specifically requesting your presence, Greta. I groaned. Let me guess. Another opportunity to highlight my perpetual singlehood? She announced it as a special chance for my desperate sister to catch some luck. Miguel confirmed, wincing. Camila slammed her lipstick down. That's it. I've watched her treat you like dirt for 20 years. You need to expose her right now. Not yet, I said, a plan forming. Miguel, I need a favor. 10 minutes later, I stood in the crowd of single women, watching Solstice prepare to throw her bouquet. She'd positioned me front and center, of course. Ready, ladies? Solstice called out. Especially you, Greta. This might be your only chance. The crowd tittered. I smiled sweetly. Throw it, sis. Show us how it's done. She turned her back, made a show of wiggling her hips, and tossed the bouquet high into the air. As planned, Miguel had dimmed the lights slightly, making it harder to see. The flowers sailed over my head, right into Camila's waiting hands. Oh my God! Camila squealed convincingly. I caught it! Solstice spun around, her face falling when she saw I wasn't holding the bouquet. Oh, well, congratulations, Camila. Actually, Camila said loudly, I think this belongs to the person who really deserves it. She walked over and handed the bouquet to Miguel. The room went quiet. Miguel, right on cue, turned to me. Greta, I've been wanting to say something all day. My mother gasped audibly. Solstice's mouth dropped open. Working with you these past months has been incredible, Miguel continued, his voice carrying across the now silent ballroom. Your dedication, your kindness, your attention to detail, it's all been amazing. Miguel, I said, playing my part perfectly, this isn't the time. No, it is the time. He stepped closer. Everyone here should know just how remarkable you are. Would you have dinner with me next week? The crowd erupted in cheers and whistles. My mother looked like she might faint from joy. And Solstice, well, if looks could kill, Miguel and I would both be 6 feet under. I'd love to, I replied, accepting the bouquet as cameras flashed around us. This is my wedding. Solstice's voice cut through the excitement. You can't just hijack it like this. Hijack it? I turned to face her, steel in my voice. Like you've hijacked every important moment of my life? What are you talking about? But her face had gone pale. My college graduation, my law school acceptance, my promotion party. Every single time I had something to celebrate, you found a way to make it about you. The words flowed out, years of resentment behind them. But you know what? You're right. This is your day, and I've done everything in my power to make it perfect. What do you mean you've done everything? Rowan asked, appearing beside his new wife. Miguel stepped forward. Should I tell them about all the planning meetings, the vendor negotiations, the countless hours Greta spent ensuring every detail was exactly what Solstice wanted? Shut up, Solstice hissed. The planning was all me, and Rowan's family paid for everything. I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. Want to see the receipts, little sister? Every deposit, every payment, every maxed out credit card? The color drained from her face. You're lying. The Swarovski crystal centerpieces you insisted on? Mine? The hand-painted French chocolates as favors? Mine? That designer dress you're wearing? All me. Rowan looked confused. But my parents, they said they were handling it. They handled the rehearsal dinner, I corrected. Everything else? That was your sister-in-law, the one you just publicly mocked for being too focused on her career. The silence in the ballroom was deafening. Somewhere in the back, a glass shattered, making everyone jump. Well, my father's quiet voice cut through the tension. I think it's time we all had a little family chat. Dad led us into a private room off the main ballroom, the same room where Solstice had gotten ready this morning. Her veil still lay draped over a chair, price tag conveniently removed. Another $3,000 I'd never see again. Sit, Dad commanded. For once, both Solstice and I obeyed without argument. Mom hovered by the door, wringing her hands. Jonathan, maybe we should wait. No, Hope, this ends now. Dad's voice was firm. Miguel, Rowan, would you give us a minute? Miguel squeezed my shoulder as he left. Rowan hesitated, looking at Solstice, but followed when she wouldn't meet his eyes. Now then, Dad said, settling into a chair across from us. Let's talk about what's really going on here. What's going on is that Greta's trying to ruin my wedding. Solstice burst out, tears threatening to spill. Just like she ruins everything. I laughed incredulously. I ruin everything? I paid for everything. Girls, Dad's sharp tone silenced us both. Solstice, is this true? Did your sister pay for the wedding? Solstice's lower lip trembled. I didn't ask her to. No, I agreed. You just complained to Mom about how Rowan's family couldn't afford the venue you wanted, and cried to Dad about the dress of your dreams being out of reach, and told everyone who would listen that you were settling for less than you deserved. I never meant for you to… To what? To step in? To fix it? Like I always do? I pulled out my phone again. Want to see the texts, Solstice? The ones where you sent me pictures of everything you wanted, followed by sad faces and if-only messages? Mom stepped forward. Greta, sweetheart, why didn't you tell us? Because she knew exactly what she was doing, Dad said quietly. Didn't you, Solstice? Solstice's tears finally spilled over. That's not fair. I just wanted a beautiful wedding. And I gave it to you. I stood up, my own tears threatening. I gave you everything you wanted. And how do you thank me? By humiliating me in front of everyone. You're just jealous because I found love and you haven't, Solstice shot back. Found love? I laughed bitterly. You found a man whose family you lied to about money. You manipulated everyone around you to get what you wanted. Is that love? Stop it, both of you, Mom cried. But Dad held up his hand. No, Hope, let them finish. This has been brewing for years. Remember my law school graduation? I asked, my voice shaking. When you announced your engagement during my party? That was different. Or when you crashed my first big court victory celebration to tell everyone you were pregnant. Even though you knew it wasn't true, you just wanted the attention? Solstice's face crumpled. I lost that baby. And I was there for you. I held you while you cried. I took time off work to help you recover. I wiped angry tears from my cheeks. But the minute I had something to celebrate, you had to tear me down again. I didn't mean to, Solstice whispered. Yes, you did. Dad's voice was gentle but firm. You've always meant to, Princess, and we let you. Mom sank into a chair. Jonathan, we failed both our girls, Hope. Dad looked between us. We let Solstice believe the world revolved around her, and we let Greta think she had to fix everything. A knock at the door interrupted us. Rowan poked his head in. Sorry, but the guests are asking questions. Should we start serving dinner? Yes, Solstice jumped up, smoothing her dress. We should get back to my wedding. Your wedding that your sister paid for, Dad reminded her. The wedding you're using to mock her. Solstice froze, her hand on the doorknob. For a moment I saw something flicker across her face. Shame, maybe? Regret? But then it was gone, replaced by the same entitled expression I'd known all my life. Fine, she said. You want everyone to know? Let's tell them. Let's tell them how my perfect sister swooped in to save the day, like always. Let's tell them how she's so much better than me, so much more successful, so much more responsible. Solstice, Mom pleaded. No, you're right. I stood up, straightening my spine. Let's tell them, all of it. Every manipulation, every lie, every cruel comment. Let's see what your new husband thinks about how you really got your dream wedding. Solstice's hand trembled on the doorknob. You wouldn't. I met her eyes steadily. Try me, little sister. Try me. The dining room buzzed with whispers as we returned to the reception. Solstice immediately plastered on her perfect bride smile, but I noticed Rowan watching her with new eyes. He'd heard enough through the door. I could tell. Miguel handed me a microphone. The floor is yours. Don't, Solstice hissed, grabbing my arm. Please. For a moment, I hesitated. Then I remembered her words from earlier. She's doomed to be alone forever. I tapped the microphone, and the room fell silent. Everyone, I'd like to make a toast to my sister. My voice was steady, surprising even me. You all know Solstice. She's always been the family princess, the one who deserved the very best. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. Solstice's fingers dug deeper into my arm. What you might not know is just how far some people would go to give her that very best. I gently pulled free from her grip. Would you like to tell them, Solstice? Or should I? Greta, my mother warned from her table. For instance, this beautiful venue? I gestured around the room. These crystal chandeliers, the hand-painted place cards, the 5-tier cake, all paid for by your supposedly career-obsessed big sister. The whispers grew louder. I saw Rowan's mother lean forward, her eyes narrowing. You see, while Solstice was telling everyone that her in-laws were funding this extravaganza, I was quietly maxing out my credit cards. While she was mocking my dedication to my career, that same career was financing her dream wedding. That's enough! Solstice lunged for the microphone, but Miguel smoothly stepped between us. No, I don't think it is enough, I continued, because for years I've watched you tear me down to build yourself up. Every achievement I've earned, you've tried to overshadow. Every milestone I've reached, you've tried to steal. And I let you, because that's what good sisters do, right? Camila stood up, raising her glass. Tell them about the law school graduation, Greta. Or the promotion party, Miguel added. Or my grandson's christening, Rowan's mother suddenly spoke up, when she announced her engagement during the ceremony. Solstice's perfect mask cracked. That's not, I didn't. But here's the thing, Solstice. I turned to face her directly. I didn't pay for this wedding to hurt you. I did it because, despite everything, you're my sister. I wanted you to have your perfect day. All I asked was for you to let me have this one thing, my dignity. Tears streaked her makeup. I'm sorry, she whispered. Are you? Are you really? I asked. Or are you just sorry everyone knows the truth now? I didn't know. Rowan stood up, his voice tight. Solstice, you told me my parents were paying. You let me believe. I can explain, she pleaded. Explain what? Rowan's mother demanded. How you lied to my son? How you manipulated your own sister? The room erupted in overlapping voices. I saw my father put his head in his hands, my mother dabbing at her eyes with a napkin. Stop! Solstice screamed, her voice cracking. Just stop! Fine, I'm horrible. I'm manipulative. I'm jealous of my perfect sister who has everything I don't. Everything you don't? I laughed incredulously. You have a man who loves you, a family who adores you, and a wedding that cost more than my car. What could you possibly be jealous of? Your confidence, she shot back. Your success. The way you never seem to need anyone's approval. Do you know what it's like living in the shadow of someone who seems to do everything right? The room fell silent. Shadow? I whispered. You think you lived in my shadow? Solstice, everything I've ever done, you found a way to diminish. Every time I succeeded, you made sure everyone focused on what I was missing instead. Do you know how many times Mom has asked me why I can't be more like you? More feminine, more social, more focused on finding a husband? Solstice faltered. But you know what? I placed the microphone on a nearby table. This isn't about winning anymore. This is about truth. And the truth is, I'm done competing. I'm done trying to earn your respect or approval. I'm just done. I turned to leave, but Miguel caught my hand. Stay, he said softly. Don't let her drive you away again. The room held its breath. In that moment, I saw every face turn toward us, some sympathetic, some shocked, some angry. But for the first time in my life, I didn't care what any of them thought. No, I said clearly, I think it's time for the bride to enjoy her perfect wedding. After all, she's got everything she wanted. Right, Solstice? I made it halfway across the parking lot before I heard footsteps behind me. Greta, wait! It was Rowan. I turned to face my new brother-in-law, his bow tie askew and his face flushed. You can't leave like this. Watch me. Please, he caught up to me, slightly out of breath. Everything's falling apart in there. Solstice is hysterical. My mother is threatening to annul the marriage, and your parents are arguing about who's to blame for all this. Sounds like a typical family gathering to me. I dug through my clutch for my car keys. She told me everything, Rowan said quietly, after you left. About the money, about the lies, about all of it. I froze. And? And I don't know what to think anymore. The woman I married today, I'm not sure I know who she is. Sure you do. I turned to face him fully. She's the girl who always gets what she wants, no matter who she has to step on to get it. The girl who can cry on command and make everyone forget what she did wrong. The girl who's terrified of not being enough. Another voice cut in. My father emerged from the shadows, hands in his pockets. Who learned early on that if she couldn't be the best, she could at least be the most memorable? Dad, don't defend her. Not now. I'm not defending her, he said, moving closer. I'm trying to understand her, to understand both of you. Where did we go so wrong? Rowan shifted uncomfortably. I should go back inside. No, stay, Dad said. You're family now, for better or worse, and families face their problems together. That's rich, I laughed bitterly. Where was this family unity all the time Solstice was sabotaging my life? Right here, failing miserably. Dad's voice cracked. Every time we let her behavior slide, every time we told you to be the bigger person, we failed you both. The night air felt heavy with unspoken words. In the distance, I could hear music still playing from the reception, life going on as if my world hadn't just imploded. She's asking for you, Rowan said softly. Says she needs to tell you something. I've heard enough from her to last a lifetime. Greta, Dad stepped closer. Remember when you were 10 and Solstice cut up your favorite dress? Because I got better grades than her? How could I forget? No, he shook his head. Because she wanted to fix it. Make it prettier like the dresses in her magazines. She just didn't know how. What's your point? My point is, your sister doesn't know how to love without destroying things first. That's our fault, not hers. We taught her that attention equals love, and that being the best means making others feel worse. The reception doors opened again, spilling light across the parking lot. Solstice stood there, her perfect wedding dress now wrinkled, her makeup streaked with tears. Daddy? Her voice wavered. Is Greta still here? I'm here, I called out, surprising myself. Solstice stumbled forward in her heels, nearly falling. Rowan moved to help her, but she waved him off. I messed up, she said, her voice raw. I messed up so bad, and I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it, I replied. You can't just say sorry and make everything okay this time. I know. She wrapped her arms around herself. But I need you to know something. All those times I tried to ruin your moments, it wasn't because I hated you. It was because I wanted to be you. What? You're so sure of yourself, so capable. Mom and Dad were always so proud of your achievements, and I just wanted them to look at me that way too. They did look at you that way, I exploded. They still do. You're their precious princess who can do no wrong. No, Dad interrupted. We babied her. There's a difference. We praised you for your accomplishments, Greta, but we praised Solstice just for existing. We didn't do either of you any favors. Solstice took another step forward. The wedding? I never meant for you to pay for it. I just couldn't stand the thought of having less than you would have had. I'm not even engaged. But when you do get married, it'll be perfect, like everything else you do. She wiped her eyes. I wanted to beat you to it, to have something first, something better. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, standing in a dark parking lot with my crying sister, my confused brother-in-law, and my guilt-ridden father, I realized something important. This wasn't about winning anymore. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about breaking a cycle that had started long before any of us knew what we were doing. We should go back inside, Dad said, breaking the tense silence. Your mother's probably convinced we've all killed each other by now. I can't, Solstice whispered. Everyone in there knows what I did, what I am. They know you're human, Rowan said quietly. Just like the rest of us. Miguel appeared at the door, his silhouette backlit by the reception lights. Sorry to interrupt, but Mrs. Bailey, Rowan's mother, is threatening to make a scene if we don't start serving dinner soon. Of course she is, Solstice laughed weakly. Can't even get my public humiliation right. Hey, I found myself saying, nobody's getting humiliated tonight. Not anymore. What do you mean? Solstice looked up. Mascara streaked across her cheeks. I mean, we're going to fix this, together. I turned to Miguel. Still got that emergency kit in your car? 10 minutes later, Solstice sat in Miguel's passenger seat while I fixed her makeup. Dad and Rowan had gone back inside to calm the waters. I don't deserve this, she mumbled as I blended foundation over her tear tracks. Probably not, I agreed. But we're sisters. It's complicated. Why did you really pay for the wedding? She asked suddenly. The truth this time. I paused, makeup sponge in hand, because I wanted to prove I could, to prove that being career-focused and single didn't make me less capable of understanding romance and beauty and all the things you always said I was missing. That's messed up, she said. Yeah, well, so are we. I finished her makeup and stepped back. There, now you look like a bride again. Greta? Her voice was small. Remember when we were kids and I used to sneak into your room during thunderstorms? Because you were scared of lightning? Yeah. I wasn't scared. She met my eyes in the mirror. I just wanted to be close to you. You always made everything feel safe. My throat tightened until you decided being close to me wasn't enough anymore. I never decided that, she protested. It just happened. The more everyone praised you, the more I felt like I had to be different, better, more. And the more you tried to tear me down to build yourself up. I finished. I'm sorry. She grabbed my hand. I know it's not enough, but I am. And not just because I got caught. Miguel knocked on the window. Ladies, Rowan's got everyone seated for dinner. He's telling them there was a small family matter that needed addressing. I helped Solstice out of the car, her wedding dress rustling. Ready to face the music? No, she admitted, but I don't have a choice, do I? There's always a choice, I said. You can go in there and pretend nothing happened, play the perfect bride like always, or, or you can be real for once. Let people see you're human. Let them see you're trying to be better. She gripped my arm. Will you help me? With what? Being better, being real. Her fingers trembled. Being your sister again. Inside, the reception had settled into an uneasy calm. Heads turned as we entered, whispers following in our wake. But this time, Solstice didn't pose or preen. She walked straight to the head table, picked up a microphone, and faced her guests. I owe everyone an apology, she began, her voice shaking. Especially my sister. Mom half rose from her seat, but Dad gently pulled her back down. I've spent years trying to be perfect, Solstice continued, trying to be better than everyone else, especially Greta. But the truth is, I've never been better than her, not where it counts. The room was silent now, all eyes on my sister as she finally told the truth. This beautiful wedding, every detail you've admired, that was Greta. She paid for it, planned it, made it perfect, not for her glory, but for mine. And how did I thank her? By mocking her in front of all of you. She turned to face me. I can't undo what I've done, but I can try to be worthy of having a sister like you, if you'll let me try. The microphone trembled in her hand. The silence stretched, everyone waiting for my response. And for the first time in years, I saw my little sister, really saw her. Not the manipulative princess, not the attention-seeking drama queen, but the girl who used to crawl into my bed during storms, seeking safety in her big sister's presence. I stood up. Well, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, I guess we have some work to do. The rest of the wedding reception transformed into something unexpected, real. The perfect facade cracked, letting authenticity shine through. Solstice kicked off her uncomfortable designer heels. Rowan loosened his bow tie, and somehow the celebration felt more genuine than before. Dance with me, Miguel said, appearing at my elbow with 2 glasses of champagne. Unless you're still planning your dramatic exit. I accepted the glass. I think I've had enough drama for one night. As we swayed to the music, I watched Solstice and Rowan talking quietly with his parents in the corner. Whatever they were saying, it seemed intense but not angry. Progress, maybe. You know, Miguel said, when you hired me for this wedding, I thought you were crazy. Spending all that money on someone who treated you so badly? I was crazy, I admitted, but maybe not for the reasons you think. Oh? I thought I could buy her love, or at least her respect. I shook my head. Turns out those things aren't for sale. No, he agreed, but sometimes they're free if you're brave enough to be honest. Across the room, Camilla was teaching my father some ridiculous dance move, making my mother laugh for the first time all evening. The tension that had suffocated the reception earlier had dissipated, replaced by something more genuine. Greta? Solstice approached, looking uncertain. Can we talk? Miguel squeezed my hand and stepped away. I followed my sister to a quiet corner. Rowan's parents want to help pay for the wedding, she said. They said it's not fair for you to shoulder everything alone. It's already paid for. I know, but… She twisted her rings nervously. They want to reimburse you, and I want to contribute too, from my savings. Solstice? Please, she cut me off. Let me do this. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because it's right. I studied her face, searching for the manipulation I'd grown so accustomed to seeing. Instead, I found something new. Sincerity. Okay, I said simply. She blinked. Okay, just like that? Just like that. But I thought, after everything. Look, I set down my champagne glass. We can't undo the past. We can't pretend those years of competition and hurt didn't happen. But maybe we can build something new, something real. I'd like that, she whispered. Then, unexpectedly, she hugged me. Not her usual performative embrace, but a real tight hug, like when we were kids. Besides, I added when she pulled back, I hear Miguel's a pretty good wedding planner. Maybe he can help me plan my own someday. About that, Solstice smiled sheepishly. I may have been a little hasty in judging your love life. He seems pretty great. He is, I agreed. But this isn't about him or Rowan or finding the perfect partner. It's about being okay with who we are right now. When did you get so wise? She teased, but her eyes were serious. Probably around the same time you got honest. The DJ announced the last dance of the night. Rowan appeared, holding out his hand to Solstice. May I have this dance, Mrs. Bailey? She took his hand, then surprised us both by grabbing mine too. Only if my sister joins us. And so we danced, the bride, the groom, and the sister who paid for it all. Not perfectly choreographed like Solstice had originally planned, but real and a little messy, and somehow better for it. As the night wound down, guests filing out with tired smiles, Solstice caught my arm one last time. Thank you, she said, not for the money or the planning or any of that. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. That's what sisters do, I replied. The real ones, anyway. Mom and Dad joined us, both looking exhausted but happy. Well, Dad said, this wasn't quite the wedding we expected. No, I agreed, watching Miguel pack up the last of his planning materials. It was better. Because it was honest, Solstice added, surprising us all. Mom wiped away a tear. My girls, both of you, I'm sorry we didn't see what was happening all these years. We see it now, Dad said firmly, and that's what matters. As I drove home that night, Miguel following in his car, we did have that dinner date to plan after all, I realized something. The perfect wedding I'd helped create hadn't been the gift Solstice needed. The truth had been. And maybe, just maybe, it had been the gift I needed too. Because sometimes the most beautiful things aren't perfect at all. They're real and messy and honest, just like sisters should be. The sound of my mother-in-law's voice drifted up the stairs, sharp and critical as ever. She's up there again, probably crying herself to sleep. How is she going to raise these children properly if she can't even pull herself together? I pressed my palms against my eyes, willing the tears to stop. My name is Natasha, and 3 weeks ago, I lost my husband Taylor to a sudden heart attack. Now, I was losing my home to his mother. Mom, I can hear you, my daughter Athena called from her room, and I'm pretty sure Mom can too. The floorboards creaked as Ellie climbed the stairs. I'm only trying to help, dear. Someone needs to maintain order in this house. I opened my bedroom door before she could reach it. I've got everything under control, Ellie. The kids are doing their homework, dinner's in the oven, and I've already called the insurance company about Taylor's policy. She stood there in her perfectly pressed blouse, lips pursed. Darling, you look exhausted. Why don't you let me handle things? I raised Taylor on my own after all. I appreciate the offer, but… Mom! Nasir's voice rang out from downstairs. The timer's beeping. I moved to head downstairs, but Ellie blocked my path. I'll take care of it. You should rest. Before I could protest, she was already halfway down the stairs. I followed her to the kitchen, where my 10-year-old son was standing by the oven. Grandma, Mom always lets me help set the table, Nasir said, reaching for the plates. Not tonight, dear. These dishes are too expensive to risk breaking. Go wash up for dinner. I watched my son's face fall. Ellie, those are our everyday plates. Nasir knows how to… Natasha, she cut me off, her voice honey-sweet but her eyes steel-cold. I know you mean well, but children need structure, especially now. Taylor would want them raised properly. My phone buzzed, a text from my best friend Tabitha. How's it going with the dragon lady? I typed back quickly. She's taken over everything. I can barely breathe. Want me to come over? I'll bring wine. Not tonight. She's already commented twice about my drinking problem, aka the one glass of wine I had with dinner yesterday. I looked up to find Ellie rearranging my spice rack. These should be alphabetized, she muttered. Really, Natasha, how did you ever find anything? Taylor never had trouble finding the spices, I said quietly. She froze for a moment, then continued her reorganizing. Well, Taylor was accommodating, too accommodating sometimes. The front door opened, and Athena came downstairs, her backpack slung over one shoulder. Mom, can I go to Sophie's house to study? Before I could answer, Ellie stepped in. Absolutely not. It's a school night. But Mom always lets me study at Sophie's on Wednesdays. Athena protested, looking at me pleadingly. I took a deep breath. Athena's right, Ellie. Sophie's mother supervises their study sessions, and she's always home by 8. Things are different now, Ellie said firmly. The children need stability, not gallivanting around the neighborhood. I'm not gallivanting? Athena's voice cracked. I'm trying to maintain my grades like Dad would want. The kitchen fell silent. Ellie moved to hug Athena, but my daughter backed away, tears in her eyes. I hate this. I hate that Dad's gone, and I hate that everything's different. She ran upstairs, her door slamming moments later. Nasir appeared in the doorway, his young face worried. Is Athena okay? Ellie sighed dramatically. See what happens when there's no proper authority? Children need a firm hand, Natasha. Taylor understood that. I gripped the counter, my knuckles white. Taylor understood a lot of things. What's that supposed to mean? I looked at my mother-in-law, really looked at her. She'd moved into our house the day after the funeral, rearranging furniture, changing routines, criticizing every decision I made, and I'd let her, too numb with grief to fight back. But watching my children's world shrink under her rules, seeing their spirits dim day by day, something inside me was waking up. Nothing, I said finally. I'm going to check on Athena. As I climbed the stairs, I heard Ellie's voice behind me. This is exactly why I need to be here. That poor woman can't even handle a simple teenage outburst. I paused on the landing, my hand trailing along the wall, where Taylor and I had hung our family photos. My fingers brushed against a small nick in the wood, a secret mark Taylor had made years ago, though he never told me why. Something about that tiny imperfection in the perfect walls of Ellie's new domain made me smile. Taylor had his secrets, his quiet acts of rebellion. Maybe it was time I found my own. Absolutely not. Ellie's voice rang through the kitchen the next morning. No child of mine ever needed a cell phone at 13, and neither does Athena. She's not your child, I said, handing Athena her lunch bag. And Taylor and I already agreed she could have one for her birthday next week. Athena stood frozen between us, her eyes darting back and forth like she was watching a tennis match. Plans change, Ellie said, adjusting her pearl necklace. In times of grief, children need fewer distractions, not more. Mom, Athena whispered. Dad promised. The hurt in her voice made my chest tight. Before I could respond, Ellie stepped forward. Your father isn't here anymore, dear. Now, go get your brother. You'll be late for school. As soon as Athena left the kitchen, I turned to Ellie. You can't keep overruling me like this. I'm doing what's best for this family. Someone has to maintain standards. She opened the fridge, grimacing. Really, Natasha, store-bought orange juice? What happened to fresh squeezed? My phone buzzed. Tabitha again. Coffee? You sound like you need rescue. Can't, I texted back. Queen Elizabeth is monitoring my caffeine intake. That's it, Tabitha replied. I'm coming over. 20 minutes later, after the kids had left for school, the doorbell rang. Tabitha burst in before I could even reach it, her red curls wild and her arms full of coffee cups. Morning, Ellie, she called out cheerfully. Hope you don't mind, but Natasha and I have some wedding planning to discuss. Ellie appeared in the doorway, frowning. Wedding planning? My sister's wedding, Tabitha explained smoothly. Natasha's helping with the arrangements. You know how good she is at organizing events. Is she? Ellie's tone dripped with doubt. Well, don't let me interrupt. I need to reorganize the linen closet anyway. Someone's been folding the towels incorrectly. As soon as Ellie disappeared upstairs, Tabitha grabbed my arm and pulled me onto the porch. Okay, spill. How bad is it? She's taken over everything, Tab. The kids' schedules, the meals, even the damn thermostat. Yesterday, she threw out all my scented candles because they were fire hazards. The ones Taylor got you for your anniversary? I nodded, fighting back tears. She says she's helping, but it feels like she's trying to erase me from my own home. So fight back. How? She's Taylor's mother. The kids need her. The kids need their mom, Tabitha said firmly. Their real mom, not Grandma Dictator. A crash from inside made us both jump. We rushed back in to find Nasir standing in the living room, a broken picture frame at his feet. I'm sorry, he said quickly. I was just trying to dust it like Grandma said. It's okay, sweetheart, I started, but Ellie was already there, tutting disapprovingly. This is what happens when children aren't properly supervised, she said, sweeping up the glass. From now on, no touching the family photos. But that's my favorite picture of Dad, Nasir protested. Then you should have been more careful with it, shouldn't you? I watched my son's lower lip tremble, and something inside me snapped. That's enough, Ellie. Nasir, go get ready for soccer practice. I'll fix the frame later. Soccer? Ellie straightened up. Oh, I canceled that. He needs to focus on his studies. You what? I stared at her in disbelief. Taylor coached that team. Nasir loves soccer. Taylor isn't here to coach anymore, is he? Her words hit like a slap. The boy needs structure, not sports. Tabitha stepped forward, her face flushed. You know what? I just remembered, Natasha, you still have that key Taylor gave you, right? The one for his study? I froze. The key. In all the chaos of the past weeks, I'd forgotten about it. What key? Ellie demanded. Nothing, I said quickly. Just something Taylor mentioned before. But I remembered now. The small brass key he'd pressed into my hand that last morning, saying he had something important to show me later. We never got that later. Well, Tabitha said brightly, I should go. Thanks for the wedding planning help, Nat. As she hugged me goodbye, she whispered, Find that key. That night, after everyone was asleep, I stood in my closet, running my fingers along the jewelry box where I'd stored the key. It was still there, small and unremarkable, but suddenly it felt like the most important object in the world. Whatever Taylor had wanted to show me was in his study, the one room Ellie hadn't dared to touch yet. Maybe, just maybe, it held the answers I needed. I clutched the key tightly, my heart pounding. Tomorrow, I decided. Tomorrow I would find out what my husband had left behind. The study door creaked as I turned the key, making me wince. It was 2 a.m., and the last thing I needed was Ellie catching me here. The room smelled like Taylor, his cologne, old books, and the leather of his chair. My phone's flashlight revealed the room exactly as he'd left it. His coffee mug still sat on the desk, a faint ring stained into the wood beneath it. I ran my fingers across his desk calendar, stopped forever on the day he died. What did you want me to find? I whispered. The beam of my flashlight caught something unusual, a corner of paper sticking out from behind the large family portrait on the wall. My hands trembled as I lifted the frame. There it was, a manila envelope with my name written in Taylor's familiar scrawl. Mom? I nearly dropped the envelope. Athena stood in the doorway, her phone providing a soft glow. Honey, you should be in bed. I heard the door. She stepped inside, closing it quietly behind her. What are you doing in Dad's study? I held up the envelope. Finding answers, I hope. She settled next to me on the leather couch, and I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a letter and several documents. Dear Natasha, I read aloud, my voice barely a whisper. If you're reading this, something's happened to me. I've been having chest pains lately, and though I don't want to worry you, I need to make sure you're protected. Athena gripped my arm. I continued reading. Mom will try to take control. She always has. She did it when I was growing up. She tried it when we got married, and she'll definitely try it now. Don't let her. You're stronger than she thinks, stronger than even you know. Dad knew, Athena whispered. He knew what Grandma would do. I shuffled through the other papers, legal documents, bank statements, and photographs. Old ones, showing a younger Ellie with Taylor as a teenager. In every photo, she was directing, positioning, controlling. There's more, I said, turning back to the letter. I've set everything up in your name, the house, the accounts, everything. Mom has no legal right to make decisions for our family. I know she'll claim it's for the best, that she's helping, but don't believe it. She nearly destroyed my first marriage with her interference. I won't let her do the same to you and the kids. Dad was married before? Athena's eyes widened. Briefly in college, I said, remembering. He never talked about it much. The letter continued. I've included proof of everything. Her manipulation, her lies, even the way she drove Sarah away. Use it if you have to. The kids need their mother, their real mother, not someone trying to remake them in her image. You need to show this to Grandma, Athena said firmly. I shook my head. It's not that simple. Why not? Dad wanted you to stand up to her. He said you're stronger than she thinks. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. We both froze. Natasha, Ellie's voice called out. Is someone in Taylor's study? I quickly shoved the envelope under a couch cushion. Just me, Ellie. Couldn't sleep. The door opened. Ellie stood there in her silk robe, frowning. This room should be left as it is, as a memorial. It's disrespectful to— To what? I interrupted, standing up. To remember my husband? To seek comfort in the space where he spent so much time? Mom, Athena added, Dad wouldn't want his study to be a shrine. He'd want us to use it to remember him living, not— Go to bed, Athena, Ellie snapped. This doesn't concern you. Actually, I said, my voice stronger than I'd felt in weeks, it concerns all of us. This is our home, our family. I am the matriarch of this family, Ellie declared. Taylor would expect— Taylor expected me to lead this family, I cut in, and it's time I started doing exactly that. Ellie's face paled. What are you talking about? Go to bed, honey, I told Athena, who squeezed my hand before leaving. Once she was gone, I faced my mother-in-law. Things are going to change, Ellie, starting tomorrow. Is that a threat? No, I said calmly. It's a promise. To my husband, to my children, and to myself. She stared at me for a long moment before turning away. We'll discuss this in the morning, when you're thinking more clearly. After she left, I retrieved the envelope and held it close. Taylor had known what would happen, known what I would need. He'd prepared everything, given me all the tools. Now I just had to be brave enough to use them. I pulled out my phone and texted Tabitha, found the key to everything, meeting tomorrow? Her response was immediate. Finally, my place, 10 a.m., time to take back your life, girl. Looking around Taylor's study one last time, I smiled. The war for our family was about to begin. She did what? Tabitha nearly spilled her coffee as I showed her the documents spread across her kitchen table. Apparently, Ellie drove Taylor's first wife away by convincing everyone the poor woman was unstable. I pointed to an old letter. Sarah wrote this to Taylor years later, explaining everything. And Taylor kept it all this time? Tabitha shook her head in disbelief. He knew his mother better than anyone. I pulled out my phone, showing her a text from Reuben, Taylor's childhood friend. I reached out to Reuben this morning. He's willing to meet with us. The doorbell rang and Reuben entered, his lawyer's briefcase in hand. Ladies, he said, settling into a chair. I've been waiting for this conversation for weeks. You knew about all this? I asked. I watched Ellie destroy Taylor's first marriage. When he met you, he was determined not to let history repeat itself. Reuben pulled out some papers. These are copies of everything Taylor set up legally. The house, accounts, even the kids' trust funds. They're all in your name, Natasha. So Ellie has no actual power here? Tabitha asked. None, Reuben smiled. She's a guest in your home, nothing more. My phone buzzed. Nasir's school. Hello? Mrs. Richardson, this is Principal Morris. Your mother-in-law just called to pull Nasir out of soccer permanently. We needed to confirm this with you. I gripped the phone tighter. She did what? She said it was a family decision. It absolutely was not. Nasir stays on the team. In fact, I'm coming to sign him up for the summer program, too. After hanging up, I turned to my friends. She's already making moves. I need to start pushing back. Start small, Reuben advised. Reclaim your space bit by bit. That afternoon, I drove to the store and bought new scented candles, the same ones Taylor always got me. When I got home, Ellie was reorganizing the kitchen again. What are those? She demanded, eyeing the shopping bag. Candles, for my house. I set them out on the counter deliberately. The kids love the vanilla scent. Reminds them of their dad. I told you those are fire hazards. In my house, I interrupted, we use candles, just like we did when Taylor was alive. Her face reddened. I'm only trying to protect this family. By canceling Nasir's soccer, the sport his father coached? She froze. How did you— I'm his mother, Ellie. The school checks with me, not you. The front door opened, and Athena walked in with Nasir. "Mom," Nasir ran to me. "Is it true? Can I still play soccer?" "Of course, baby." I hugged him tight. "In fact, you're joining the summer league too." "But Grandma made a mistake," I said firmly, meeting Ellie's eyes. "She forgot to check with me first." "This is ridiculous," Ellie sputtered. "Taylor would never—" "Actually," I pulled out my phone, showing her a video I'd found in Taylor's study, him coaching Nasir's team, both of them laughing. "This is exactly what Taylor would want." Ellie stormed upstairs, and I heard her door slam. Athena grinned. "Mom, that was awesome." My phone buzzed with a text from Tabitha. "How's Operation Take Back going?" "Just won the first battle," I replied. "Soccer stays, candles are back." Queen Elizabeth is not amused. Later that night, while the kids did homework, I found a crumpled paper in the recycling bin, a draft of Taylor's letter that Ellie must have discovered while snooping. My heart raced as I smoothed it out. How much had she read? The sound of her heels on the stairs answered my question. Her face was composed, but her eyes were cold. "I always wondered why Taylor changed his will that last year," she said. "Now I know. He turned my own son against me." "No, Ellie, you did that yourself. I made him successful, gave him structure, guidance. You controlled him, and now you're trying to control his children." She stepped closer. "You have no idea what it takes to raise children properly. You're too soft, too permissive, just like Sarah was." "The difference is," I stood my ground, "I'm not going anywhere. This is my home, my family, and my rules. We'll see about that." She turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Natasha, I've invited some old family friends over for dinner tomorrow. Do try to have the house presentable." As her footsteps faded, I texted Reuben. She found a draft of the letter. Time to call in reinforcements? His response was immediate. On it. "Tell Tabitha to contact Dexter from the community board. Time to show Ellie what real family support looks like." I smiled, lighting one of my new candles. The vanilla scent filled the air, and for the first time in weeks, I felt truly at home. "Ellie invited how many people?" Tabitha paced my kitchen the next morning, her heels clicking against the tile. 12, I said, checking my phone. "All her old country club friends. She's trying to embarrass me in front of the community." "Well, she's in for a surprise." Tabitha grinned. "Dexter's already called everyone who matters. Trust me, this dinner party won't go how she expects." The doorbell rang. Dexter, the community board president, stood there with his wife Maria. "Natasha," he said warmly, "we came early to help." "The dinner's not until 6, I started, but Maria was already rolling up her sleeves. "Honey, we're not here for Ellie's dinner. We're here for yours." Over the next few hours, people streamed in through the back door. Neighbors, parents from the kids' school, Taylor's old soccer team families. Each brought food, supplies, and most importantly, support. "Mom?" Nasir appeared in the kitchen. "Why is everyone here?" "Because they care about us," I said, hugging him. "Where's your grandmother?" "Still upstairs, getting ready. She said we need to look perfect for her friends." The doorbell rang again. This time it was Reuben carrying a thick folder. "Everything's set," he whispered. "Just say the word." At exactly 6, Ellie descended the stairs in her finest dress, stopping short at the sight of dozens of people filling our home. "What is this?" she demanded. "I specifically invited your friends?" I gestured to the front door, where her country club associates were arriving. "They're welcome too. The more the merrier." "This is completely inappropriate." "Actually," Dexter stepped forward, "this is exactly appropriate. This community supports Natasha and these children. We always have." "And who are you two?" "He's the community board president," Maria cut in. The same board that Taylor worked with to establish the youth soccer program you tried to shut down. Ellie's face reddened. I was only thinking of what's best for who? I asked quietly. For Nasir, who lost both his father and his favorite sport? For Athena, who can't even study with her friends anymore? You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I raised my voice slightly, making sure everyone could hear. This is our home. These are our neighbors, our friends, our support system. Taylor knew that. It's why he chose this community. Taylor chose this community because I suggested it, Ellie snapped. Actually, Reuben stepped forward. Taylor chose it because it was far enough from you to give his family space to breathe. A murmur went through the crowd. Ellie's country club friends shifted uncomfortably. Is that true, Ellie? One of them asked. Did your son really move here to get away from you? Of course not. I only ever wanted what was best. Like you did with Sarah? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Taylor's first wife? The room went silent. Ellie's face turned pale. That was different, she whispered. She wasn't right for him. No, I said firmly. You decided she wasn't right for him. Just like you've decided I'm not right for these kids. I never. Mom? Athena appeared at my side. I found this in the study. She held up a photo album. It's full of pictures of Dad with Sarah. They looked happy, until suddenly she's not in any more pictures. Ellie reached for the album, but Athena pulled back. There's writing on the back of some photos, my daughter continued. Sarah wrote about how much she loved Dad, but how she couldn't handle the constant criticism, the manipulation, the control. Enough! Ellie's voice cracked. This is a private family matter. You're right, I agreed. So let's handle it like family. These people? I gestured to the crowd. They're our family too. They've been here for us since Taylor died. Where were your country club friends? One by one, Ellie's invited guests made their excuses and left, leaving her standing alone in a sea of our supporters. This isn't over, she said, but her voice lacked its usual authority. Actually, Reuben stepped forward again. It is. Natasha has legal documentation of everything. The house, the accounts, even Taylor's explicit wishes for his family's future. Would you like me to share those details with everyone? Ellie looked around the room, finally seeing what she was up against. Not just me, but an entire community ready to stand with us. I think, she said stiffly, I need to lie down. As she climbed the stairs, Tabitha squeezed my hand. Round one goes to us. Round one? Maria laughed. Honey, this was a knockout. But watching Ellie's defeated retreat, I knew better. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. She'd regroup, replan, and come back fighting. But this time, I'd be ready. The morning after the dinner party, Ellie was nowhere to be found. Instead, a formal invitation sat on the kitchen counter. Family meeting, 2 p.m., Taylor's old law firm. It's a power play, Reuben said when I called him. She's trying to intimidate you with the setting. Should I be worried? Bring the letter and documents. And Natasha, bring the kids too. It's time they understood everything. At 1:55 p.m., we walked into the law firm's conference room. Ellie sat at the head of the table, flanked by 2 lawyers and her friend Serenity from the country club. The children shouldn't be here, Ellie said immediately. They're exactly where they need to be, I replied, taking the seat opposite her. Reuben sat beside me, placing his briefcase on the table. I've called this meeting, Ellie began, because recent events have made it clear that this family is in crisis. As the matriarch, You're not the matriarch, Athena interrupted. Mom is. Ellie's lawyer cleared his throat. We have concerns about the children's welfare. Mrs. Richardson has documented several instances of questionable parenting decisions. Like what? I demanded. Serenity pulled out a notebook. Allowing unsupervised study sessions, dangerous sports activities, inappropriate social media access. You mean letting me study with Sophie? Athena's voice shook with anger. Or letting Nasir play the sport Dad loved? Your father would want. Don't. Nasir spoke up for the first time. Don't tell us what Dad would want. You didn't even come to his games. Ellie's face hardened. I'm trying to protect you from… From what? I pulled out Taylor's letter. From turning out like their father? The son you tried to control so much he moved across the city to escape you? That letter is a forgery, Ellie snapped. Really? Reuben opened his briefcase. I have the original here, with Taylor's notarized signature, along with some interesting documents about Sarah. The lawyers exchanged glances. Serenity shifted uncomfortably. Who's Sarah? Nasir asked. Your father's first wife, I said gently. The one your grandmother drove away with false accusations and manipulation. That's slander. Ellie stood up. I won't sit here and… Sit down, Mom. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Sarah herself stood there, looking elegant in a business suit. They deserve to know the truth. Ellie fell back into her chair. How dare you come here? I invited her, Reuben said. As Taylor's first wife, she has relevant testimony about your pattern of behavior. Sarah walked to the table. I loved Taylor. We were happy until his mother started spreading rumors about my mental health, my faithfulness, even my ability to have children. You were wrong for him, Ellie insisted. No, Sarah's voice was firm. I was just wrong for you. I wasn't controllable enough, moldable enough, so you destroyed me, but I won't let you destroy this family too. Is that why Dad kept all those pictures? Athena asked Sarah. To remember what Grandma did? Sarah nodded. Taylor never forgave himself for not standing up to her then. That's why he prepared everything for your mom, to make sure history wouldn't repeat itself. Ellie's lawyers were whispering urgently. Finally, one spoke up. Mrs. Richardson, given this new evidence, we recommend… Fire them, Ellie cut in. All of them. This meeting is over. No, I stood up. This meeting is exactly what we needed. The kids needed to see the truth. They needed to understand why their father set things up the way he did. I'm their grandmother. I have rights. You have privileges, Reuben corrected. Privileges that can be revoked. Are you threatening me? No, I said quietly. I'm giving you a choice. Either accept that this is my family to lead or leave. Taylor made his wishes clear. I won't let you do to my children what you did to him. The room fell silent. Nasir reached for my hand under the table. I choose my family, he said firmly. Me too, Athena added. Ellie looked around the room, at her dismissed lawyers, at Sarah's steady gaze, at her grandchildren's determined faces. For the first time, I saw something new in her expression. Fear. You can't just cut me out, she whispered. No one's cutting you out, I said, but things will be different now. My house, my rules, my family. You can be part of that, but only on those terms. She stood slowly, gathering her purse. I need time to think. As she walked out, Sarah touched my arm. You did what I couldn't. You stood up to her. We all did, I said, hugging my children close. Together. Watching Ellie's retreating figure through the glass walls, I felt no triumph, only relief. The truth was finally out, and with it, the power she'd held over us for so long. Now we just had to see what she'd do next. 3 days passed without a word from Ellie. Her bedroom door remained closed, meals untouched outside it. The silence felt like the calm before a storm. She's planning something, Tabitha warned over coffee. Women like Ellie don't just give up. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Dexter. Heads up, Ellie's at the community center with her country club friends. They're calling an emergency board meeting. Now? I grabbed my keys. Watch the kids, Tab. Go, show her what you're made of. I arrived at the community center to find the parking lot full. Inside, Ellie stood at the podium, perfectly composed in her designer suit. And as a concerned grandmother, I must bring attention to the declining standards in our community. Single mothers without proper support systems. You mean widows whose mother-in-laws try to steal their children? I called out, walking down the aisle. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ellie's fingers tightened on the podium. Natasha, this is a closed meeting. About my family? I don't think so. I turned to face the crowd. You all knew Taylor. He coached your kids, helped with community projects, believed in making this place better for everyone. Exactly, Ellie jumped in. And now his legacy is right here. I pulled out my phone, playing a video I'd found in his study. Taylor's face filled the screen, recorded just weeks before his death. Hey, beautiful. His voice filled the room. If you're watching this, I guess those chest pains meant something after all. I need you to know something. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You gave me the strength to break free from Mom's control, to be my own person. Ellie tried to speak, but Dexter shushed her. The video continued. I've watched you raise our kids with love, not rules, with guidance, not control. You're everything I wished my mother could have been. Tears streamed down my face as Taylor's image smiled. Don't let her do to our family what she did to mine. The house, the accounts, everything's yours. But more importantly, the kids are yours to raise. You're their mother, and you're amazing at it. The video ended. Silence filled the room. Well, Serenity stood up. I think we've heard enough. No, a new voice called out. Sarah walked in, carrying a stack of papers. You haven't heard everything yet. This is ridiculous, Ellie sputtered. She has no right. I have every right. Sarah passed out documents to the board members. These are the complaints filed against Ellie 20 years ago. Harassment, defamation, even stalking. The same patterns she's showing now. Those charges were dropped, Ellie protested. Because Taylor begged me to, Sarah replied. He didn't want to believe his mother could be so cruel, but he learned. That's why he protected his new family from you. Dexter stood up. I move to dismiss this emergency meeting. All in favor? Hands shot up across the room. Ellie's supporters shrank in their seats. Furthermore, Dexter continued, I move to formally recognize Natasha as the head of the Richardson family and their rightful representative on all community matters. More hands raised. Ellie's face turned red. You can't do this, she hissed. I am still a guest in my house, I finished, and not a very good one. The crowd began to disperse. Ellie's friends hurried past her without meeting her eyes. Finally, only Ellie, Sarah, and I remained. You've ruined everything, Ellie whispered. No, Sarah said gently. You did that yourself. 20 years ago with me and now with Natasha. The difference is she's stronger than I was. What happens now? Ellie asked, her voice small. That depends on you. I stepped closer. You can either accept that things have changed and try to be the grandmother our children deserve, or you can leave. But the controlling, the manipulation, it stops now. They're my family too. Then prove it, not by ruling them, but by loving them. Can you do that? She looked between us, the woman she'd driven away and the woman who'd stood her ground. I don't know how, she admitted finally. Then maybe it's time to learn, Sarah suggested, before you lose another family. My phone buzzed, a text from Athena. Is Grandma coming home? I showed Ellie the message. Well, are you ready to try things our way? She wiped her eyes, smearing expensive mascara. I need time. Take it, I said. But remember, When you come back, it's to our rules, our family, our way. As she walked out, Sarah squeezed my hand. You did it. You really did it. We did it, I corrected. All of us together. Looking around the empty community center where Taylor had spent so many happy hours, I felt his presence stronger than ever. He'd given me the tools, but I'd found the strength. Now it was time to go home and tell our children that the war was finally over. Mom, Grandma's here. Nasir's voice carried from the front door. I looked up from Taylor's desk, now my desk, in the study to see Ellie standing in the doorway, a small suitcase at her feet. The 30 days are up, she said quietly. I'd like to come home, if the offer still stands. I gestured to the chair across from me. We should talk first. She sat down, her usual perfect posture slightly wilted. I've been seeing a therapist, Dr. Matthews. She's helping me understand patterns I never noticed before. Good, that was our condition. I know. She twisted her wedding ring. She showed me how I've been recreating my own mother's controlling behavior. I didn't want to believe it, but Grandma, Athena appeared behind her. You're just in time. Mom's letting me redecorate my room. Want to help pick colors? Ellie's hand twitched, and I could see her fighting the urge to take control. Instead, she asked, what colors are you considering? Black and purple. I see. Ellie caught my eye, took a deep breath. It's your room, dear. What matters is that you love it. Athena's jaw dropped. Mom, what did you do with the real Grandma? We all laughed, breaking the tension. Why don't you show her your design ideas? I suggested. As they left, I heard Ellie asking questions instead of giving orders. A small change, but significant. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. How's it going? She's trying, I replied. Really trying. The doorbell rang. Tabitha burst in with takeout bags. Family dinner. I brought everyone's favorites, even your weird seaweed snacks, Ellie. You remembered? Ellie looked touched. Course I did. Your family. Difficult, sometimes impossible family, but still family. We gathered around the dinner table. No formal dining room, no strict seating arrangement. Nasir had soccer dirt on his knees. Athena's hair was wild from dance practice, and for once, Ellie didn't comment on either. Before we eat, she said suddenly, I have something for everyone. She pulled out a stack of envelopes. Letters. Dr. Matthews suggested I write down things I should have said long ago. She handed them out, one to each of us, plus one for Sarah and one addressed to Taylor. That last one she placed in the center of the table. You don't have to read them now, she added quickly, or ever if you don't want to, but I needed to write them. Nasir opened his immediately. His eyes widened. Grandma, you're coming to my soccer games? If you want me to. She smiled tentatively. Your father loved coaching you. I should have seen that. Athena read hers next, tears filling her eyes. She got up and hugged Ellie, their first real hug since Taylor died. I opened mine last. Natasha, I owe you the biggest apology. You didn't just lose your husband. You lost your partner, your children's father, your future as you planned it. Instead of helping, I tried to take what little you had left. I was wrong. Taylor chose well when he chose you. You're stronger than I ever gave you credit for. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. The guest room is made up, I said, closing the letter. Same rules as before, respect boundaries, ask, don't tell, and therapy continues. Agreed. Ellie reached for the letter to Taylor. This one, I'd like to put it in his study, where it belongs. Together, we walked to the study. Photos lined the walls, old ones of Taylor and Sarah, newer ones of our family, recent ones of soccer games and dance recitals. A timeline of love, loss, and healing. He would be proud, Ellie said softly. Of all of us. Even you? Especially me, I hope. It's not easy admitting you've been wrong for so long. From downstairs, Tabitha called. Food's getting cold, and Nasir's eyeing the last spring roll. Save me one, I called back. To Ellie, I added, welcome home. For real this time. As we headed downstairs, I caught a glimpse of our reflection in the window. Mother and daughter-in-law, both changed by loss, both healing through love. Not perfect, but family. Taylor's letter sat on his desk, next to the vanilla candle I'd lit earlier. Its flame flickered, casting dancing shadows that seemed to whisper, "This is what I wanted all along." Not perfect harmony, but real love. Not strict control, but genuine connection. Mom, Athena called. Nasir's telling Grandma about his goal last week, and he's totally exaggerating. Am not, Nasir protested. Are too. Ellie caught my eye and smiled. A real smile, not her usual practiced one. Shall we go referee? No, I said, returning her smile. Let's just go listen. Sometimes that's all family needs to do. Together, we rejoined our beautifully imperfect family, leaving Taylor's study behind but carrying his love with us, always.